Hey guys, welcome back to Power Within. Today we're going to talk about the affirmations and the positive ones, the negative ones, and this is about the honest mind.
Yeah, as therapists, as friends, as partners, even you guys, everybody will talk about the positive in affirmation, telling people you're good enough, you look beautiful today. Most of it will be true, but we discovered a book a few months back and it was about disappointing affirmations, and we'll share a few of them, little one-liners during today. But even as therapists, I will always talk positive to my client. I will always want them to start learning to talk positive to them. But when we flip this on the head and be raw and honest, the disappointing affirmations, the real honest talk, is probably sometimes more powerful than the positive ones.
Yeah, because I think the positive ones are there to pick you up and to say things out loud to yourself, to be that positive person. 'Cause I do that all the time. Any clients, any friends, they'll come to me because they know that I'm going to say really positive stuff, like everything's going to be all right. You can do this. And then realistically, the negative side, you know that they're going to go mess up. You know they're going to go and do exactly what they want to do, no matter how much positive you give them. So to share the disappointing ones is just as powerful as
I think it was a good turn on the head, wasn't it? Because
yeah, it was,
you imagine me saying to you, "You've got this. You can do this," and in that heat of the moment, you might feel like utter crap, and you don't believe it.
No.
And so the whole world, Instagram, social media, you will see the memes pop up, the reels, and you'll go, oh, that sounds great. I want to hear that. We all want to be picked up by the positivity. But I know most of our clients and most of our friends in that moment don't really believe they've got it in them that day.
No, but they talk to us just so they can have a little bit of positivity. But then sometimes we are very real with them as well. And I think they like that. They like the fact that we are real. So it's not always about giving the positivity and the big spiel. But sometimes I'm probably too positive and too forward. Like I think one of my friends the other day went, "Thanks for that pet talk." And I'm like, yeah, maybe I was a little bit too firm and a little bit too forward on that. And she kind of took it as a pet talk, and I thought, okay, I'll let her roll with that one. But again, it is about being positive and knowing that everything will work out how it should do. But in some people's circumstances, they actually don't want to hear that. They do want the real, raw, honest truth.
Yeah, and I think, especially when you might say to someone, I'm a therapist, or I'm married of 14 years, or I've got kids, and life looks like it's figured out.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're sometimes talking and they think, because you think you're an expert or you might be an expert or you've got your shit figured out, that it's not coming from a place that they really want to hear it.
Mm.
And if you Google affirmations, and for some people, they will be part of their ritual, and that is the idea of an affirmation, is you talk positive to yourself. It becomes so repetitive that you rewire the brain to start thinking better of yourself. And it holds a lot of power. But I think coming across this book about disappointing affirmations, they probably hit a little bit more truth and honesty, and we've had a real giggle reading it, which is why we decided actually with a light-hearted Saturday evening film one and go, let's share the disappointing side of it.
So one of them is we're always asking the universe for guidance. And this just says, just go with it and do whatever stupid shit you were going to do anyway. Because realistically, when you leave clients, you know that they are actually just going to go off and do whatever they want to do. They might sit and listen to you. They might end up just going off and carrying on with the stuff what they are going to do. So I think that one's a good one. You got.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head just with a client, and she's going through a messy breakup. And I think whenever she comes to me and we do hypnotherapy, And hypnotherapy is a totally different level because you can change your subconscious way quicker than a few affirmations in the mirror. But I feel like she has such an intense session, she leaves and goes, yes, I've got my shit in order. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to lead by everything we've just said. And I think she drives down the road, forgets some of it, and goes back into the path that she's always done.
Yeah. But you can't teach everybody everything. You can't make everybody go off and do exactly what you would do, because I think when people are in that situation, it is good to hear stuff. But I do think even if they take 20, 30% from us, or even from that positivity, it's better than none. So,
Yeah, and she's doing great. It's very slowly, probably at her pace rather than mine. And let's go back to therapy. It should always be at the client pace. Otherwise, all my clients would be really thriving because I'm poking them to be quicker.
So imagine saying to someone, don't let anyone make you feel bad about yourself. That's your job. And nobody does it better. Which is absolutely true.
Yeah. Like going back to one of our staff, and probably one of your favourite staff, but she's so good at being negative to herself.
Yeah.
So even if we're there and we pick her up and we tell her all the affirmations that she needs, and we've done that, even in hypnotherapy, we've done that, she's still so good at bringing herself back down.
So today, we put out there, we're having a staff meeting next week. So she says, Vic, I need you to be nicer to me, because you're always sort of take the mickey, or I'm always the highlight of the staff meetings and you bully me. Obviously just joking. And I says, well, I'll tell you what, I'll be nice to you. And she says, would you really? And I'm like, yeah, I would, of course I will. I says, bear in mind, I says, you are the best. You are the best at being late. You are the best at walking slow. You are the best at not doing the job what you should be doing. I says, and you're the best at being on your phone. I says, so congratulations on being the best. She told me to piss off. I'm like, well, there you go.
Did she whip you with a tea towel and then you broke your toe?
Yeah, so she whipped me with a tea towel. But that's, again, the banter at work. She's wet the tea towel, flicked me, made a bruise on my leg. So I've chased her and stubbed my toe, and I've really broke it.
She's the best.
She's the best.
But she's someone that we will always give positive affirmation to, because she's so good at bringing herself back down. And there's a lot of power in affirmation. And we talked a little bit earlier, didn't we? There's a young lad, I've talked about him on our anxiety podcast. I've talked about him several times. And I'm like a proud parent, and he's not my kid. But I remember doing hypnotherapy on him, and we go back to him, his self-esteem was quite low. We had anxiety. And he was so quiet and timid. And I actually imagined, being quite visual in hypnotherapy, I actually imagined him being Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. His name's not Jack. But I imagined the more we did the work, the more he would slay and conquer and
grow.
And he would get bigger and bigger and almost louder and louder. And I remember, if ever you come to see where we do therapy, I asked him to imagine opening our doors and shouting, I am Jack, and I am fierce, and I am in control. And I looked like a twat because I did it for him. And his name's not Jack, so he was never going to do it. But he started to do it. And then we replaced the word Jack to who he is. And I said to him, bearing in mind he was going on a residential that we didn't think he was ever going to go on. And I asked him to look himself in the mirror and say, I am said person, I am strong, I am fierce, and I am in control. And the morning of his residential, his mum texted me and said, I heard him in the bathroom this morning saying, I am strong, I am fierce, and I'm in control. And she sent me the picture. I get the privilege as a therapist to him of a picture, and he's just about to board his coach for the residential that she never thought he was going to go on.
That's amazing.
So affirmation 1,000,000% works. And I get to see him grow every weekend at football because he just got louder and louder. I might have to do a session to bring Jack down the beanstalk slightly because he's so fierce. But he's a reminder that affirmation can work.
Yeah.
And affirmation really, really can change the character of who you are. But I do like the take of this.
Back to negativity.
Yeah, something that we're not really.
So,
and
no.
I had a real good giggle reading some of these.
This is absolutely me. I'm exactly where I want to be at home, avoiding people. Absolutely.
And how many people say, I will say it to clients sometimes, you know, you're where you need to be right now, which might be true. The universe might have some plan. But how many people want to probably give us a slap and say, shut up?
This is another me. People come into our lives for a reason. Sometimes that reason is to make us enjoy being alone. How good is that? See, that to me is actually positive.
Because it reminds you to avoid people.
Yeah, but sometimes people.
But on the flip to that, if we were to be therapists and break that down, people do come into our life for a reason, and sometimes that reason is to teach us a guided lesson of we deserve better, or we need to be less trusting, or we deserve more. And they're all guidance. And you know, we're strong believers that the universe is this powerful place. So for us, we are exactly where we're meant to be. It's a Saturday evening and we're chilling at home with the kids. And I'm very grounded to be where we are.
And that's it. Imagine being in a busy nightclub surrounded by a lot of people. It's like the worst case scenario for me. So yeah, I'm really, really grounded and really happy. And I'm all good. Let go of the past. You're holding yourself back from making new regrets.
I feel like you would give that your friend for banter.
Yeah, absolutely.
If she talks about some of her exes, let go of them because you're holding yourself back from your next one.
Yeah, well, it's off our staff. Sorry, Steph.
Sorry, Steph.
So, want to read any?
Well, without swearing, just because it didn't work out doesn't mean you failed. You successfully
Messed up.
Vic's nudging me. You successfully messed up. Not every failure is really a failure, is it? It's a test.
Yeah, you got to learn by your fails. I don't mind failing. I think it's been a massive part of my life is failing. But every time I fail, I learn. And then I learn again. So I never think it's a bad thing. And I've always said that. Like failure is it's not a bad thing at all. It's a lesson. It's a little lesson in disguise.
I think in return, you're not afraid to fail.
No.
Like when we talk business, and I'm talking to a really close friend at the minute, even about property and things, I think maybe some of our resistance to that area of life has been maybe the fear of the unknown and the fear of failing. And she's one of my closest friends and she's so smart. Like you always joke that she's channeler from Friends.
So I never know what she does, although she tells me what she does. But I never know what she does. So I in my perspective, I just think that she's like channeling my friends. So.
No one knows what they do. However, is really successful and earns a fortune. But for me, she's incredible. If I needed help with something, she would be my go-to. If I needed some advice, if I needed some backbone behind us, she would be my go-to. And yet I think, as confident as she is, the fear of stepping out has been what's holding her back.
And to say what a confident, I think very powerful person who she is, I'm so surprised she's not just... Because what she's doing, she's so much better than that. It's not the fact that she's so much better, is that she's done it for a family and she's done it for family. So she's never done it for herself, I don't think. And I think that's where she's wants to get people on a good path, but I don't think she's appreciated in the slightest. So for me, I've always said if I were going to go into business with anybody, because we've always stood back from going into business with people, she is the only one I would put my money on. And I believe in her as a character. She's very smart with stuff. She tells us off all the time.
She's channeling from Friends.
Channeling off Friends.
But I think the fear is what holds her back, where I think some of and not that you failed loads, maybe change the word fail to you've had a few unsuccessful events.
They were successful at the time, but then you realise when you have to just get off. And I think that's another thing with people is they continue to do it until they really are in the crap. Where instead of going, do you know something, this is not really working, I'm changing it up, but I'm changing it up now, opposed to changing it up when it fails, and then when I do lose everything.
And you know what? You might have seen it. You might have seen it. I've seen it a few times pop up. Jay Shetty shared it literally the other week, and he's got a video of getting on a train. And it's a Chinese myth that if you get on the wrong train in the wrong direction, the quicker you get off, the more time you'll save. So for some people, let's say we were meant to go to Manchester and our train were accidentally onto London. Let's not get to London before we realise we've gone wrong. We're allowed to get off. Same with life. You're allowed to say, actually, this journey's not for me anymore. I'm going to get off. It's going to cost me a little bit more, but I can go back in the direction I need to be.
And that actually goes for relationships, because I think a lot of people stay in the relationships because they're scared to just be single, or they're scared to be alone. And I think that's where they go probably 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Most of their life is then been wasted, or they'll go, I've wasted 3 years of my life been with him or her. And you say, well, you've not, but hopefully this is actually a learning curve for you not to do that again. So the next relationship you do go into, don't sit back and wait and hope that this is going to work when it's never worked in the first place. Because if it's never worked in the first couple of weeks or months or the first year, I know there's one of our friends did exactly that. And she's chased therapy, she's tried hypnotherapy, she's tried couples therapy, and none of it's worked because it was never going to originally work anyway, because they were so far apart. But they was trying the best to be so close together, and it never worked. But yet they stayed, I think, for 3 years, when even after 9 months it wasn't working. But they tried the best.
Because I think saying out loud, this doesn't work, feels like a failure.
You're allowed to
So
fail.
instead, and I go back to one of my family members, I remember her saying to me, but I've spent 2 years there. Now, to me, it's black and white. You might have spent 2 years. You can't get them 2 years back. But don't give him another 2 years just so that you don't say that was wasted. Because then you're going to be 4 years deep and 5 years deep. It's still not any better. But because she didn't want to quit, because she didn't want to feel like 2 years was for nothing, she was almost sacrificing another 2. And I think that is a downfall for humans of going, oh, well, I'm in it now. Let's just persevere.
And again, if you get off that train sooner, the quicker
you're on
you
the
can
right
get
destination
back
to where you're meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. This goes with this next one. Life can be so much easier. All you have to do is lower your standards. Which people don't do that, but it is.
In therapy, we would tell you to higher your standards. You know, you deserve more. You are more. You're worthy. So don't lower your standards.
Oh, that's a good
But
one.
obviously, in the disappointing affirmations, that's funny. Lower your standards and you'll be happy. You know, lower your standards and you'll be easily pleased.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do. They lower the standards, like the person what you've been talking about, and she'll stay with that relationship for 2 years and then go, well, I've been in it for 2 years, so I'll stay for another 2. And it's never worked. But you still keep trying. Or they'll go, well, once he or she's fixed, I'll be okay. But you don't need to do that. You know what I mean? Fix yourself and then move on. You know, because don't stay there.
Yeah, and obviously that's what we would be saying in hypnotherapy and therapy, wouldn't we? You know, you deserve more, you are worthy. When we work with self-esteem, it's all about rebuilding that. Those types of clients, if I was to score their self-esteem, they'd be like a 2 or a 3 out of 10, very low. Their self-worth would be rock bottom, usually stole by the very culprit that they share a bed with. Once you unshare the bed, you can work on you can regrow, you can realise you deserve more. So this is a funny take on it, and we accidentally stumbled across this book, which made us dive in a little bit more.
So here's another one. You can be anything that you want, and yet you keep choosing to be you. I admire your dedication to the role. This is true. People do.
Share some more.
Some more. You can mess up anything that you put your mind to, which is, again, standard.
And there was one, wasn't there, even further on in the book that I really like. But as humans, we are our own worst enemy, especially when we talk about negativity, and we're the very culprit that keep us grounded in a place. Although we want to grow, we deserve to grow, we've got this ambition, we've got that future plan, something holds us back. I guess the very thing that holds us back is us.
Absolutely.
The self-doubt.
It's self-doubt, self-sabotage, all those things just roll in. And then, again, it says here, why do something right away when you can wait for it to give you crippling anxiety? Because it does. As soon as you're waiting for it and that you're not going to do it right away because you put it off till tomorrow, but you've got so much anxiety about it that you never end up doing it anyway. And that's...
And your anxiety's through the roof about the very thing that you need to do.
Yeah. It's okay if you aren't where you want to be right now. Your goals have always been unrealistic.
And bearing in mind, this book, 16 quid. I don't even know who's the author.
So
Dave Tanowski, an American
brilliant
guy by all accounts, 2 divorces, and I think at the back it says he's a very unsuccessful author because he realised he couldn't write anything more than a few pages. But his slogan is toxic positivity can go to hell.
It's brilliant.
It is, and it's quirky. And I think the idea being, if you've got a friend, you've got a family member, for us we might have clients, it's very easy to say you deserve more, you're great, you're beautiful. One of the things at the early page of this, what does it say? It says, and you can all do this and ask yourself, where is it? Okay, one of them, don't be sad, you're making everyone uncomfortable. But the reality is, how many of us ask if you're okay? Are you okay today? And I think I can't find it, but it says, just don't tell the truth, because not many people want to hear that you're not okay. I don't feel okay today, because actually can you find it? It's actually hard for someone to sit and hear, no, I'm not okay, because what do you do with that?
Exactly. The only person that you can truly rely on is you. And what a nightmare that is. But yeah, it is. It is absolutely fantastic. And I think if, obviously, if you are on YouTube or anything, if you can see that, disappointing affirmations, and go buy a copy, because it's great to sit and read, giggle with your partner, giggle with your loved ones, and see which ones actually,
if nothing else,
yeah.
What would you be telling yourself?
Self-sabotage, yeah.
Yeah, why wait for things to fail when you can make it happen?
Which is self-sabotage.
And we've talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've talked about self-sabotage. How many of us picture a dream and then set fire to it?
Yeah.
So I think some of our previous podcasts roll into this one, although this is a bit more lighthearted. Don't take it too serious, because we would never tell a client or a friend or a family what this book tells you, because it's a bit brutal.
Read that one.
And the best way to cope with your problems is to add new ones to distract yourself from the original ones. And I say we all do it. I don't necessarily say we do it. But we do it as human beings. This is my problem today. And because this is undealable, I'm going to create something else to distract me from that. And then and it just spirals and spirals, and the anxiety kicks in.
And it's that snowball effect as well, where it does just, you make one mistake. And again, like I said, we did a podcast of the week about the butterfly effect. And again, it does snowball into the butterfly effect. You make one mistake, and that one mistake you could have actually avoided by just sticking to the original plan.
Yeah. And I enjoyed talking about that, because I often think about that even with life. And we've not got it all figured out. Sometimes we all make errors. And they'll snowball, but they put us exactly where we are today. And I will forever say, when I had to resign and lose my job, which felt like a failure, was probably the biggest blessing of my life. We wouldn't be sat here today. You wouldn't be my wife. Our kids wouldn't just be up there relaxing. My whole life would have been different if I didn't throw the textbook of rules out at work. I was gutted at the time, but it took me to exactly where I was meant to be. And if that's a positive affirmation, then I'm taking it, because it sits.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, even the butterfly effect, with which we will do a podcast about, but the adoption side to what we've done, we've not spoke about it. We've had to pause on that. But again, it will work out for the best. Obviously, we've still got the relationship there, but we will elaborate on it another time.
Yeah.
Everything's still grounded. Still got 2 kids.
Absolutely, we've still got 2 kids. We'll always have 2 kids. We've just been slightly silenced. And I say it's all right, it's not okay, but we will elaborate and update and rant about it another day.
It's okay to be okay as well.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, one of the biggest statements, I think, with affirmations, whoever was the genius that did it, was the T-shirts and hoodies that come out. That was, you are enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lovely to stand behind somebody with a hoodie on and read that. And that is the affirmation that you want to read. But it doesn't mean you necessarily believe it in the moment when you don't feel it. And I think one of the quotes there, it was about saying, it's not about pretending everything is okay, but it's about giving yourself permission to feel real and a step forward.
Mm-hmm. But guys, thank you for listening again today, and stay honest, stay kind to yourself, and don't worry. And you don't need to be a higher self at any time, but just be a really good human.
Be honest. Yeah.
Thanks for
affirmation, listening. Disappointing affirmation, whatever you need today, then that's all right.
Absolutely. But guys, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Be safe.